Hey Stencil fans, today I cannot wait to share with you. We are going to do this 4th of July Pledge of Allegiance sign, perfect for a porch or your home decor. But what I want to show you today is how to do some of this banding. I wanted to do these in these really strong color story. We're going to do banding. We're going to do, I'm going to show you how to do banding on banding with your stencil. I'm going to show you how to use parts of your stencils to do other things. There's a lot to learn with this and a really cool wax resist background. I think that you're going to love it. All right, stencil fans, I hope you're ready to learn so much. Very first thing we have to do to get that wax resist texture background is we are going to start with a stained brown background. I'm going to use a water-based stain. These are honey bottles. We put our stain in the honey bottles. These are Amazon links. It's down below. It's an affiliate link. We'll list it below. To get this texture, this is what we're after here. We're after this chipped wax texture that looks like really old chipped paint. It looks great on clocks. It looks good on like any project. So just anywhere that you want it, I'm going to show you how to make it kind of random and make it look like it's just like hundreds of years old. It's going to look great. Okay, so here we go. Secret weapon. We're going to use Clapham's Salad Bowl Wax, and it is magic because you can use Vaseline, you can use some other things. This has got just enough of a paste texture and just enough of a bite where it sits where you want it. And like it makes me the happiest out of all of the different ones that I've used. So, and it lasts a good long time. And you can use it on all your surfaces to finish, and it's food safe. So bonus, winner, winner, chicken dinner. And I think this one's available on our website. So you're gonna take your finger, it's food safe, so it's not a bad product for your hands and stuff. And then we're just gonna come down here and we're going to randomly, I can look at my board, look at my picture on the website or wherever I'm taking my inspiration from. Great thing to do is to go onto Pinterest and just look at like distressed aged signs and see where their chips are coming from. You don't want to make like a big long like streak. You want to be random. So if I got that in a big streak, I would maybe make it weird in the middle so it wasn't like just a big long skinny streak. Okay, and I would do it on both sides. I'm gonna get this on here and then we're gonna talk about our giveaways. So tell us where you're from and tell us what the weather's doing. Weather's always doing something. We're in Ohio. It's always something weather. It's not too drama, but it's weather. Anyway, let us know, type it in there, and then say hi to your fellow stencil fans. Isn't stenciling the best? I want to talk about stenciling for a minute. As I was getting ready to do this project, and you can see I'm just kind of doing random placement of the wax. If you're just joining us, welcome. This project, if I had to base it, trace it, if I printed this out on a Cricut and I had to weed it, I would probably need to drink way more wine than I already do. Okay, I'm just saying, because that's, oh my goodness, that would be horrible. It would take forever. So stencils make painting really, really, really simple and really easy and fast. I have made, so I own the stencil company, right? But I have literally had our design team make a ton of stencils as a painter for 30 years. That, stars, that's one of our giveaways. Let me get this top coat on and I'm going to talk about the giveaways. But we have made so many stencils that are great tools or really difficult things to paint by hand. Lettering is one of those things. So stencils make your life easy. It's the ultimate convenience crafting tool. All right, so I'm using black paint, also in a honey bottle. It's acrylic, affiliate link, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna get a good amount of that. To go over my wax, I need to use a heavy coat. And then what I'm going to do with this, I'm just gonna do half of this board and I'm gonna let it dry while I show you things on the other board, and then I'm going to show you how we sand off once this dries. You don't want to use hot blow dryer on wax because it'll meld with your paint. Okay, so we're going to pick that up, and we're going to, I dribbled, no worries. try not to press into your paint. Try to just skim over the top of it. And if you feel like you're having to push, you don't have enough paint. Okay, and we're just going to do an even coat. And these drizzles will go away when I sand and do the things. I'm not worried about those. I could twist it. Using a good amount of paint. I'm probably using half an ounce of paint, maybe an ounce. I think it's a good amount. Let's say probably half an ounce. All right, get that going. Let us know what you're painting. If you have pictures of what you paint, let us know on Facebook. Post it, or on YouTube, I guess. I'm being silly right now. I always forget that there's so many channels to be on, and we're on a lot of them. We have loads of videos on YouTube. We put them on Facebook as well, but you know, they're harder to find later. I'm going to set this aside and we're going to talk about our giveaways. We're going to let that dry. I'm hoping it's dry by the time we're ready for it. Our giveaways are patriotic stuff. Believe it or not, stars are one of the very first things that I had us make for a stencil, because every one of those little points is so difficult to do with a brush. You'd have to outline it with like a little liner brush, and then look at how many stars there are in this. If you wanted to do a star pattern, you'd have to do that 50 times and then fill it in. And I don't know if you've ever used like a, you know, this kind of brush instead of like a stencil brush, but this little brush right here will take forever. So anyway, this is one of our most popular bestsellers on our website. So this we sell and sell and sell and sell at 50 American Stars. And then we've got this in both sizes. So that's going to be one of our drawings. They go together. And then, and that is if you like, share, and comment. And then this is a welcome sign, stencil, not a sign. And so I'm going to put those down there. And then we're also doing our, get it out of here, our shopping spree. So the way the shopping spree works is you go onto, this is our Facebook Live. So that means we're answering your questions live. And later it'll be on YouTube. If you're catching us on YouTube, make sure you go to Facebook and, you know, follow our page and do that kind of thing. And then, but what we're doing is we're giving away a shopping spree for $30 if you share stenciled things that you've made. And you get bonus points if you share stenciled things with our stencils. So we just want to see what you're creating, and we want to share with other people that are stencil fans. How many times did I say stencils just then? I think it was maybe quite a few. All right, so we're going to put that away and we are going to get going. I want to show you how easy it is to make this project. You could do this in all white. You could do this in a white background with a blue letters or with red letters. You could do this stencil very simply. I have made it maybe a lot complicated. But if you're painting for Christmas, if you're painting for boho, if you're painting for 4th of July, anything that has a really strong color scheme, like a red, white, and blue, you are going to find yourself at times needing to carry a color around to be able to make it really look rich. Like, I think it's fine just to be like, yeah, I did a chalky thing and it's just one color. Sometimes you're going to want color, and sometimes it's going to need to be specific. So what we did here is we put the red in a couple of places for the lettering. So we did the red as the main thing. And then we used the white as just like an anchor color down through the piece. The blue is the dark and it's at the top and bottom. And then we did our red banding in between. So the red really dominates. The blue helps this blue carry from the middle up to the top by putting it at the top and the bottom. I know that's a lot of kind of like designy words and stuff like that, but if you can think about it in like a purpose way, instead of just moving color, I want blue in there somewhere, I'll put blue here and here, gives you bookends for your painting. Red is the color that will carry, white's gonna be your filler color. So I hope that helps. I'm gonna show you how to do it. Okay, so I've got one started. And what I've done here is I've left the bottom because that'll be about where the camera will sit here. And I've gone ahead and done my drop shadow. So I'm going to show you drop shadowing. So I hope that if you haven't done drop shadowing with a stencil, you really haven't experienced how easy stencils make things. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do the banding, to show you some shading around on the banding. And then I feel like I've got one more thing. Oh, and we're gonna highlight the letters. And so that will be like an ombre effect. So there's some good stuff in this video. And it's a beautiful project. Okay, so what we have done to make, I have learned something. It's so funny, like I've been painting with stencils for a lot of years. And this week I learned something brand new about painting with stencils. I don't love doing drop shadow with stencils the way I used to do it because it would take 3 steps and it was irritating to me to paint and then repaint and then paint again. But I learned how to do it quicker. So this is hot off the press right here. Okay, so what we're doing is we're gonna pretend like nothing's painted. I'm gonna line up my white base letters that don't get drop shadowed. Okay, so all of that stuff, here goes the glasses. What's in your sippy cup today? I want this to be wine hardcore right now. I've said wine twice in this video. I don't know what that tells you about my mood, but a little red wine, it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna get some tape and tape that down. And then I'm gonna show you how to get the drop shadow down here, and I'll move that up. Just a second. Let me get me taped first. So to center my, my stencil on here, I used a T-square. These are available on our website. And I measured and I did all the things in all the directions, and then I centered it before I got started. Okay. I'm gonna grab this guy. And he can go back there. Smearing. Okay, so by putting the white on first, so I just took my, actually a cream color. You could do your colors in a really bold, like red, white, and blue, or you could use a white or a toned red, toned blue, and a cream color and make it a little bit more aged, distressed look. So you can kind of choose, like your red, white, and blue doesn't have to be the same red, white, and blue as like this color. It could be a bolder color. Okay, I'm gonna use our cream. Gonna scribble off on our paper towel. If you're new to stenciling and you haven't, or you struggle with bleeding under, this is the trick that you need to listen to the most. And welcome to stenciling. You're gonna be a fan. It's so much fun. Okay, number one, you need a dome brush. You want it, it's cut and shaped like a dome. And so that means that you are not gonna be pushing. Most stencil brushes are flat and they push the paint underneath the stencil. And you're forced to stipple. And we like to swirl because it makes a nice even coat. It dries really quickly, doesn't make a stencily ledge around your letters and stuff. So we love that. So that's what we're gonna do. You use a dry brush, a dry paper towel. You use dry paint, meaning there's no water added. Pick up your paint, I'm gonna do it again, and then swirl over here about, 6, 8, 10 times, whichever feels good for you. Then I'm gonna go down here and I'm going to stencil the cream colored letters and the cream color other letters. Then what I'll do is I'll take this off. Now we'll pretend like I did these white letters, this white area, and I did them all, just because that's the easiest to do all your color. If you do this area and get it done, there's your brush dirty in 3 colors. Move up, do the next one. There's your brush dirty in 3 colors. You're gonna end up needing like 80 brushes to paint a project. So what I do is I move everything in color bands. So I do all of my banding in one color, all of my base coating in another color, and that just saves on brushes. Okay, so we are going to move the stencil. So what you do to get drop shadow is you take your stencil and you line it up with something that's already painted. This is the key to this new secret way of doing it. It takes one whole step out, and it takes probably 2 or 3 top coats out. So it's a time saver to do it this way. And the other way that I would do it is I would use a round brush and I would do it by hand. But the problem, if you're new to painting and you haven't taken years and years of classes and stuff like that, then you're not going to know how to use a round brush, and it will be frustrating for you. So this is a really, really great technique for people that are new to it. And if you have 29 letters, words, I think there's 29 words on here, you're going to want to do it this way. Okay, so what we do is we look down here and we slide our stencil down about 1/4 of an inch straight down. And I look across the bottoms to make sure that it's the same everywhere. And then I take it and nudge it over to this side. And I check it to make sure all the letters look about the same amount. Okay, then I'm going to tape it down. And now we're going to do these letters right here. I've got some in blue and some in red. I'm going to get out our nice burgundy color. Once again, acrylic paint, affiliate link down below. The honey bottles are super funny. This water-based paint. We've painted with specific colors for years and years, but paint has been hard to get for a good long time now. It's been, I don't know, it's been like a year at least that we're dealing with. So whenever you're watching this, if you're not having a hard time getting paint, be happy that you're not. Okay, so tell us where you're from and welcome to our channel. I love that you guys are here. Welcome to our Facebook page. I am excited to share stenciling with you. We're going to pick up our red. I'm going to do the same technique. And we're going to rub it off, and then we're going to go onto our lettering. This is where things get a little bit hairy if your stencil is tight. This is a really tight stencil, a lot going. We've got this new MultiMasker, and I have to say, we have a little boutique in our town, and then we teach painting classes and workshops and stuff like that. And we're just getting ready to get kind of back started and stuff like that. Or we'll get started soon. It's like, who knows, right? Anyway, but we're planning on it. So what we are doing is we are getting people trained and that kind of thing. It's been, a long time. So we've got this little MultiMasker, and one of our teachers for our workshops was in there helping us train the new people. And she's used to, when you have a crowded stencil, you take out your roll of tape and you kind of look like a little old lady, and you kind of nibble at the stuff, and you just tear off a million little pieces of tape. And then you go around every little piece and you tape it off, and then you get it based and you peel it all off, and then you start over for the next thing. It's terrible. So we were doing that and discovered that we could make a little tool. This has, it's just a Mylar piece. It works really well to mask the Mylar. It's super flexible, but it doesn't fold. So that's neat. And then, so what we can do is, we know we don't want the white letters another color. So we're going to go in and we're going to lay a piece of that MultiMasker over the thing that's close to our lettering. If we needed to, we could equip our MultiMasker with 2 pieces of tape. If it was something that we didn't want to hold down, and then you can just lift that and you can lay it down, and then you don't have to hold it. So you could do that if you wanted to. Anyway, so the teacher that was there had been used to these workshops, so much taping, and it just takes forever, and then you don't get to go home at night because people are there until forever. She almost cried. She was amazed. She was so thrilled to not have to deal with the taping and all of that. So it really is a time saver. Okay, so I'm looking to make sure I know where I'm going. When I get done in this area, I'm going to need to move my masker to this area so that I can get in there and keep my blue from being another color. And do I have that? Oh, no, I don't. I'm going to get rid of the tape because I find I do it better without. I want to just be able to move it right on a whim. Okay, so I've got that there. I'm going to swirl. So haven't you learned so much already? And what do you think about these brushes? Like, let everybody know what you think about the dome brushes. And by the way, whatever day, month, year almost, it's been such an interesting journey we've been on. Get the dome brushes when they're available. Do not wait, because it seems like every other week we have problems. And I literally can't keep it straight. I never know what week we're going to be in for being able to get brushes. So get them when you can, because they're hard to get. Okay, so I just moved that. Did you see I flipped it over and turned it upside down to mask off this ampersand, which is going to be blue. And then I don't know why I switched to stippling. And you'll notice I'm getting a couple of hairs. These brushes are bundled together, they crimped, and they've got a little bit of glue that holds everything together. And sometimes everything doesn't get the same glue. So if that happens to you, then what you do is you wait until, I'm sorry, I'm painting, I've got to hold my tongue a certain way. You wait until it's dry and then you just brush them off. Okay, so your brush isn't defective if you have a hair that falls out. Now we're gonna keep going. I've got a little piece right there that I need to get. Isn't that just such a deal maker? That is just the best, 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 best. So now I can go right down here, right next to this thing, and I will stipple that. I do stipple all the time when it's a skinny line. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just work on the Liberty. By swirling, my letters are already dry. Okay, so we're gonna go here. And I just realized, and it's totally fine, I'm doing this upside down. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the red brush in the water, and you're gonna know that even I make mistakes. You have to do the white drop shadow first. I jumped right to my red because that was the color it was gonna be. Okay, so, but now you know how to use your stencil brush. And now we'll go over here to this justice word and we'll do that one. And we'll do the blue one as well. So we'll get the white on there. The step that this saves is that you are going to be able to go right with your red color or your blue color right over the white. And normally what we would have you do in the past is we would have you put the red color over, like one coat like this, move the stencil, put the white color on, move the stencil back, and then it would just be this like 3-step process. And then once you've put white under the color, it's harder to base, but then you've done another coat and it's hard to get the white to cover over the red. It's crazy. So this is way better, big improvement. Now I do want to stay out of these letters, so I'll bring that MultiMasker back in just to remind myself that I don't want to be there. Okay, and the, okay, and then I could do these, but I'm going to skip those for right now. Now what we do, I'll take care of those afterwards. We're going to move this back up. I am going to hit that with the blow dryer. I got just a little bit generous right here. And you can take your click eraser. That's the little guy, it just has a little clicky thing. It's made out of PVC, I believe. Dip it in water, and I can go right up next to the edge of my stencil if I've bled under, and I can fix it. You will normally find your mistakes happening. This is when they happen for me. You will normally find them happening when you are hurrying, when you've made a mistake and you flubbed it and you're just trying to move on with it, or when you load too much paint, like you're trying to get it done faster, which is the same as hurrying. So don't hurry when you're painting. It's just like relax and chill. Okay, now we're gonna lay this right back on our for all. We are going to and we can see right in these lines that I have a drop shadow situation going on. And we're gonna get our red and we're going to base, and that's gonna be our blue. Okay, here we go. Okay, now, because I'm going over the white, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stipple, gonna get my drop shadow, my MultiMasker. I'm gonna stipple because I want it to coat more. If I want to do thin layers so I can go like quicker or whatever, but red is such a terrible color. They don't put much pigment in the paint, and it's like a universal terrible color to paint with. Sometimes you can do well to put a little bit of gray underneath the, now I want to be careful. Now I've moved up here. I'm not in this area anymore. And make sure that you're not putting a lot of paint on your tool, MultiMasker tool. Go over here and I can just mask on that side. Now I'm coming around the corner over here. I'm gonna come down here. Really, 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 truly indispensable. Sometimes I harp, but I only do it when I really feel like it's a harping moment. Okay, now this one is kind of a weird little, I'm trying to see if there's a whole bunch of, we found the other day that we were doing leaves and some like organic stuff, and we use these things to go into the organic flowery bits and stuff like that. So just trying to see what will fit best. Come down there. And I don't think that's too bad. There it is, it's close. Okay. And probably one more coat. And just don't even put it down. Not on this stencil. This is a crowded stencil. But it's so beautiful. And don't forget, you can, one of the things I am going to show you with this is you can use the other parts of your stencil to make other parts of designs. Like you don't have to buy a separate star stencil. If you have this stencil, you can use those stars. So that is a really cool thing. And I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. If you're just joining us, welcome. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and commenting and telling us where you're from. We are going to do drawings for the, we have the noon show and we have the recast of our live at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays. So if you're checking us out on Facebook, welcome. And if you're catching us on YouTube, welcome as well. But do check us out on Tuesdays because that's when you can win the prizes and stuff like that. The other thing to do is to go to studior12.com and go check out our stencils. We have, I don't know if we have the most in the world, but we think we might. I don't know. I haven't gone and counted everybody's, but we've got more than 5,000 stencil titles. So we have it going on and we've got what you need. So check us out. All right, so I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to blow dry. I'm not going to do the blue because I've got blue things based up here and you don't need to see me base coat blue, but this will show you the drop shadow. You ready to peek? How many of you are peekers? Put a show of hands in the chat. Ready? Okay. Ta-da! Check that drop shadow out. Is that not the bomb? It's amazing. Like how easy was that to do all those letters at once? It is super cool. So recap, do something that is going to be in its normal position. So if you have butterflies or scroll work, give that its coat of color and then drop your stencil down for the things that you want drop shadow on. That's how you skip extra steps. Okay, so now I'm gonna slide this puppy down. Let's not slide it down. Let's show you how to do this band down here. So I measured where I wanted it. And I've got a really cool tool for that as well. I'm gonna use my T-square. The T-square will keep you square. It will keep you on a nice even line. And now you wanna mark, if you've ever marked on a painted piece with a pencil, you know that you can't get those lines off of that stuff later. Like it's terrible. So we have this, what we call a triple threat ghost writer, and it is a soapstone lead. And it actually has a gray lead and a roller stylus. It doesn't have ink. It's just a stylus for tracing patterns. It's actually a sewing tool and a white lead. And then on the back end, it has an eraser. And everything has refill parts and stuff like that. So you can just get it refilled. They're amazing. So I'm going to go on here and then I'm just going to mark where my line's going to go in 3 places. Down. We're gonna get our tape. I would normally want to use a banding stencil, but we don't make banding stencils that big because it would be a really big hole and it wouldn't work out right. So we're gonna take our tape, the size that it is. Almost all tape stretches. This, we call this stretchy tape because it really stretches and you can tape in like curves and stuff. You wanna be careful to make sure you mark. It's okay to like stretch it across and like put your tape down. But if you don't make sure you're straight, so I'll press that down and then I'm gonna come back over here and make sure it still says I'm straight and I'm good. I had to correct it when I was doing these bands like a couple of times. It just stretches and bends. Okay, we're gonna use this little guy right here. It's an ink sweeper. And I think that came from like the scrapbook world or something like that. It's a little foam tool. And this is a thing I want to talk to you about, keeping your stencil brushes in plastic to keep them fresh. This is I'm going to show you one that's not dirty. So it's a foamy, really pliable little foam thing, and it's got a place to put your fingers. Okay, so you can stipple with this, and you just go along, and it just does a really even coat, which you'll see in just a second. When you wash these, you really want to take them right to the sink. If it starts, because they're not very thick, it might get hardened around the edge at the very first, and then it'll not be as nice to paint with. So what I like to do is take them right to the sink after I'm done using it, and then just press all the paint out until it's clear. It'll stain it, but it won't stick in there. These will last for years if you treat them well. But what I did is, because I couldn't go right to the sink and I didn't want it in my bucket of water, I went ahead and pressed it into my plastic bag so that the plastic is not letting air in. Paint doesn't dry unless it oxidizes with air, so it's like a chemical reaction with air. So by doing this, it keeps the air out, and now my paint is on there, it's fresh, and I can go wash it as soon as I'm done. And it would probably stay fresh in there for about a week, just FYI if you left it and you couldn't get to it. Okay, so we're gonna mix a little color here. We've got a navy blue and we've got a grayish blue. We're gonna mix our color. I wanna encourage you to try to mix your colors when you need to. If you've got a pink, and by the way, if you ever paint anything with pink, it's a really hard color to manage, so do little test palettes. I probably have failed at pink projects more than any color in my 30 years of painting. I struggle with it. All right, so I mixed probably, and sometimes you can do them in chocolate chips if you're trying to get a measurement. You can be like 1 to 2 or 2 to 1. But if you think of it in like quarters or chocolate chips, a size that you are familiar with, then that helps you know what you've got. So I basically have, for this size project, I've got 2 quarters and 1 quarter in a pile. And then I'm using an offset palette knife. Okay, and that is keeping my hand out of the paint. If I was over here, I wouldn't be with my fingers in the paint. And I'm just looking for a richer blue. I didn't like how dusty that one blue was. And that's the thing about mixing, is if you have, a color that just is making you go, it's not quite right, then you go ahead, stick your finger in the blue, then you go ahead and you just mix a little bit of something else in it. So I knew I wanted it darker, so I went for a darker blue. If I wanted it duller, I might put a little black in it. And then just do a little pile and see what it looks like. Okay. I am super curious. What do you guys do for your 4th of July celebrations? Like, how do you decorate your porch? Is it full on patriotic? Is it, are you just doing farmer's market and lemons? Like, what's on your porch? I think that's a fun question. I love it. And let us know where you're from when you answer it, because I think it would be neat to know, like, what do you do in San Francisco? Like, how do you decorate your porch there? I just, don't you think that's interesting? I do. When you drive cross country and you do trade shows and stuff like that, you're always like driving through these small towns, you're like, oh my gosh, look at that, and it's always different than where you're at. Okay, so we pick up a little bit of paint. We tap it off. And so I'm not big wadding the paint or any of that. I'm gonna just put that on there, and I'm going straight up and down on my tape. I am not pushing it I'm not pushing towards it. I'm up and down, and not with a lot. Tap it off a little bit. Look at how fast that base coats. If I did this with a brush, I'd have to do a bunch of coats. So I just want you to know that, this is super, super like an even coat, and it's amazing. Okay. Finish it off. Okay. And I'll probably need to do one more coat. So just stuff that back in there. Now I'm going to show you how to use parts of your stencil for other things. Okay, I'm going to get that dry. Did you guys know that we have a Pinterest page? We have been so busy pinning all kinds of beautifully styled photos on Pinterest to like inspire people using their stencils and stuff. So make sure you check us out. It's Studio 12 on Pinterest. And we're going to take our stencil and we are going to use this long line right here. And we're going to use it to make the banding on that. Once again, this is why I have a stencil company, is I was a painter, had to do everything the hard way. And then once I discovered what stencils could do for you, I realized their usefulness and started making lots of things that would help people. And so we do also have a lot of tool stencils. This is a banding stencil, and it will do the same thing, but I think it's interesting to show you how to use parts of your stencil. So I could line this up with my thicknesses. Now this only comes in like, that first thickness. So that's the very first line. I can use that on there and go across and make my band. That's fine. But what if I want a big band? What if I want a medium band? So it doesn't do it if I need all the things. And then once again, the alternative is to go ahead and use, a tape that line and tape that line. I don't know if you guys have done that, but a lot of times when you use tape to do your banding and things like that, when you take your tape away, you're going to chip your paint. So tape is handy, it's just not perfect. All right, I'm going to give that blue one more coat. The earlier you take your tape away, the less likelihood that you'll have of chipping anything. Okay. There are like so many nuggets of cool tips in here. I feel like we ought to call this like painting tips and tricks or something. And we painted a 4th of July sign. So let us know which one is your favorite trick right now, because I feel like they're really basic things in a way, but I feel like they're all solid. Okay, I'm gonna peel my tape away. I'm gonna put it at, I think it's a 90-degree angle. I didn't do that class in math or in high school. And I'm gonna pull it that way, and it will cut the tape line as I'm pulling it. And I'm laughing because it's pulling off some of my, my chipping. One thing about using this wax resist for your chipped paint is the wax resist will stay there and it will affect the colors that you put on top. And it's really important to know. Let me get rid of this. When I put my borders on here, I'm gonna chip through where that wax is once I sand this a little bit. So I can control that by how much sanding, but yeah, you're definitely gonna chip through. So you wanna know that, and if you don't want it through your America, don't put the wax there. The other thing that you can do is you can wash, after you get the black on there and you do your initial sanding, you can wash it with some degreaser, dry it off, and then continue painting, and that helps prevent some of that, but I like the effect. All right, so we are going to use this part of the stencil. I'm gonna go here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna line it up. It's gonna be hard to see. I'm gonna line my line up so that it's barely inside the red. I don't wanna hit the red exactly because I might miss it and it might look like I was sloppy, if that makes sense. So I wanna just barely cover over it. Okay, and get that there, and you gotta do both sides, make sure you're hitting it. Okay, definitely gonna want my MultiMasker. We might also be able to call this one the MultiMasker video, because like I haven't done as many really tight stencils like this for a long time. So this is really showing its use right here. Let me get this down here. You wanna use a flat paper towel when you're doing this technique. If you don't have it flat, it's really hard to like get all the paint off and stuff like that. Okay, so I've got that line where I want it. It's right there, and my indivisible is too close to what I want to do. Of course, I grabbed the biggest darn brush in the universe. Let's get a medium brush. We'll get that there. And I am going to stipple, because that is a skinny line. Skinny lines do better with stippling. If you're just joining us, welcome. We are learning so much stuff. We will have a recast. If you're on Facebook, we'll have a recast tonight at 9, so you can catch us there. And if you like, share, and comment, you can enter to win prizes. So now I'll continue. Make sure that you don't run off the edge of your MultiMasker. I've done it. And then once you get it where you want it, then you're going to remove the stencil, and voila, you have a perfect perfect line. Isn't that wonderful? Such an easy thing to do. Okay, I want to show you how to do, this is still a little bit wet. Let me show you how to highlight the letters. We're going to put our stencil back on. And let me show you, I think the America, because it's right there in the middle. Those of you who have watched me reposition stencils a bunch of times, I'm really sorry, I'm not great at this. Like, I can do it, but I'm not very good at it. Okay, so we're gonna get that in the middle, little middle America here. And then we're going to highlight the middle of those letters. So in this case, I'm gonna use a small dome brush, and we're going to use a lighter blue color. So I'm gonna mix with my brush just a little bit of the blue and a little bit of the cream, and then really spend some time on my paper towel. So to get a highlight through the middle of your letters, you're gonna start in the middle, and you're not gonna push, you don't wanna make a line. So you're gonna start in the middle and just kind of keep to the arch of it. That's a really important technique. Keep to that arch and scumble off all the scuff. I don't know if Bounty changed their paper towels. I may have to change brands. These, I think, are Bounties, and they're shedding like crazy. Like, I'm getting all the lint and fluff. Okay, so we get all the way across. We're gonna pick up just a little bit of our cream with our dirty brush. Important that it's a dirty brush, because if it's not dirty, then what's gonna happen is you're gonna be too strong of a color on there. So, and we'll go right up the middle of that highlight color. So we want our, it's almost like a serving plate. We have our dark blue, then we have our salad plate that is the medium blue that we mixed with the cream, and then we have our dessert plate on top of that, and every one of them gets concentrically smaller. So you just reduce them, and then it all fits together. So that is how you highlight through a stencil. Let's show you what it looks like. You ready to peek? Okay. So there we have highlighting straight through the middle of that. And I think we're ready for stars. Starsy, starsies. Okay, once again, have stars on my stencil. I'm gonna put these on somewhere kind of in the middle. I'm using the bottoms of my words. All of our stencils are done on lasers, and they're all done with graphic design programs. That means that people are snapping lines in, to make sure they're gridded right, make sure things are balanced. We have professional designers, so like this isn't like bad art, if you will. But that means that you can use, like, the tops of my United States letters would be a really good ruler for me, because I know they're all going to be at the same level and the same height. So use the things at the top and bottoms of things to help figure out your centering. All right, so we're going to go here and see if I agree with myself that I think we're kind of in the middle, not very straight. So I'm also looking up here to see if I'm straight up there. Oops. I do find it really, really handy to have the little pieces of tape on the stencil, because I like to reposition with them. Okay, get that there. And yep, we're gonna do those in that light blue. Go here and here, a little bit of light blue. Yeah, it's cream. I think I'm gonna take a drink. We have these wonderful, wonderful cups. They are laser etched cups, and they keep things hot and cold on our website. Amazing. I have strawberry fused water in here right now. Last year I grew probably, I think I planted 100 strawberry plants in my garden. Anyway, this one says Queen Bee, and I just love it in the bright yellow. Loving that bright yellow. Love anything bee. Okay, I'm not putting of the down there, so I'm just gonna do my stars. So I can just center them and then use those. And then because these are balanced, I can remove this, and then I can lay this over And it's not going to be quite the same, almost balanced. I did it up there at the top and I figured out the right combination. Just make sure that you're keeping it about even. There we go. But now you can make your own pattern. Isn't that amazing? Super useful to use your stencil for other things. All right, I'm trying to think. Okay, now we've got to show that background. Make sure you're like, sharing, and commenting because we are almost done. I want to show you how to do this shading on the edge of our stencil as well. So a couple more steps. If you haven't bought one of these wonderful little sea sponge sets, they come with these little flat disky things, also with sea sponges, which are great for backgrounds. This is a magic tool. This is magic. Big magic. Okay, I'm gonna get it wet in water and I'm gonna sand first. Let me sand. So I'm gonna wring that out. Okay, and I'll wipe my hand off. We're gonna use our sanding disc. And what I wanna do with the sanding disc is I'm just going to get that chippy paint to go through my background. So that's chipping off nicely down here. Yeah, see that rustic look? So your wax will take things off even after you have painted on top of it. I love that. Okay, so while I've showed you that, we're gonna make this into a shading tool. I was doing this with a paintbrush earlier. Sometimes I get confused and I go back to my roots where I did everything with a special paintbrush. I literally have a brush container with thousands of different paintbrushes. I might have a little bit of a paintbrush problem, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this as our brush. We're going to wet it, squeeze it out. We're gonna pick up just a little bit of paint on the side and we're gonna just blend it on our side. What that's gonna do is the strongest color is gonna be here and this will have faded this color down right here. And so we're gonna come along our board and we're going to just apply a big old shade. And then if we want to, we could round that in the corner if we wanted it rounded. But that will fade it, and then I can flip it over and do it the other way. And those of you who do paint with paintbrushes and come from, you know, the land of decorative painting and stuff like that, I hope this blew your hippie noodle because like that needed to be shown to us years ago. Okay, so we'll just run it right down its edge. Like who has time for brushes? Well, I love brushes. Okay, and then round it out. Super easy. Put this in your water and then wash it in your sink when you do your brushing, clean your brushes. Like, I don't know, that might be my favorite technique I've showed. Okay, so we're gonna take that and put that up there. And then we are going to, oh, I got show and tell. Real quick, let me show you more things. Make sure you like, share, and comment. We're gonna do make sure you share your posts, your pictures of your painted things for the grand prize, which is the shopping spree. We have America. This is a leaner sign. And this is STCL 2673. And like I said, 5,000. So many stencils. This is STCL 2676. All of our patriotic. This one is my favorite one of the week. I love the way this is painted. STCL 2023. I think it's classic. You can do these in the tall porch signs as well. You can do them smaller. And then Land of the Free, Because of the Brave. I think if you have son-in-law, family members who are in the armed forces, I think this would make the best gift. STCL 2401. And don't forget, these things can be gifts all year long. If you are, you know, if you're a painter and you're like, well, I don't know what else I want to paint for my house, they're great gifts. So don't forget your family. All right, we're gonna go show this background. Keep putting my hand in the wax that I didn't cover. And I think that's dry enough, so that worked out. Okay, here's the magic. So you can see it's resisted just a little bit, and it is wet in a couple spots. I'm just gonna not care about that. I'm gonna use my 60 grit sandpaper. This guy right here is the, it's totally left my head right now. But nope, whatever it's called, it'll be down below. Anyway, we're going to, you put your sandpaper in this and it's super weighted. It's like literally got a good heft to it. It makes sanding so easy to do. You'd think it would make it hard, but it actually is so much better. Okay, we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna put my hand in a clean spot. And then this is what you get, is this like staggered, cool, yeah, chipped awesomeness. Isn't that great? So good. And then if you want to, you can dig in and go a little bit deeper and give yourself some distressing as well. Okay, brush it off. And then if there's something that you don't like, maybe you got too polka dotty, too lined up. What you can do with that is you can just go ahead and clean your wax off, put your black paint right back over, and don't sand it there, or sand it just a little bit. So you're not stuck with what you did. You can always correct it and go one step back. I hope that you guys are so ready to celebrate the 4th of July with this porch sign, and I hope that you've learned so much. Please put down below in the comments, comment, like, share, show us some love. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're there, and then ring that bell so that you get notified when we have new videos. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.